What is it that makes the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid an incredible SUV? Is it the spacious interior that's comfy for the whole crew? Or the capability to go off-road? Maybe it's up to 600 plus miles of range? What if it's all of that and more? What is it then? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. Is it the driver behind the wheel? No. Are you sure? The all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid. So much more than just another SUV. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today. Golf.breck.org. Golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Russ Mitchell is going to be here in about 15 minutes from right now. I'm going to get into the Niners and Saints injury stuff here in just a sec before we talk some college football with Russ Mitchell. I just want to mention, because it is a thing that's dominating the news today, is the tragedy involving the shooting death of Charlie Kirk. I'm sure most people by now have seen it. A lot of you have messaged me on my show text line, Twitter, everything. This is... I always look at the show as a place where I do the thing that I'm paid to do. It doesn't mean that there aren't important things that are being discussed. But when people come here, they come here with the expectation of hearing me talk about sports and the teams they love, and maybe use that for an escape. It doesn't mean that the things that are happening aren't significant. Of course, that is massively more significant than anything that we're going to discuss here today, full stop. But there are amazing platforms where you can go have that conversation if you want. What I will say is... it has me shaken, has since I saw the news, as someone who puts himself out there every day and gives opinions that oftentimes people disagree with. It's always something in your head where you worry about crazy people. I'm not in any way trying to compare myself to Charlie Kirk. But the thing that I just keep thinking about mostly is, I think everyone listening right now, provided you're a rational human, you understand that what happened today is horrid. It is appalling. It is devastating. I cannot stop thinking about his wife and his 2 small children. It has me shaken today. And it's not very easy to sit here and talk about sports when that's in the forefront of your mind. I will, and I hope you will as well, pray for his family, for their peace, for his friends, their comfort in an impossible time. And we can be better, man. Like, man had civil conversations with people he disagreed with. It's no reason to be shot. Not that there's any reason. But, I don't want to have the conversation here. There's plenty of places that you can go have that conversation, and I fully respect that. I know people come here to listen to us talk about sports, and that's what we're going to do. But I felt like, because so many of you have at least mentioned it, I at least had to mention and acknowledge that it happened, and that for me it is it's jarring, it's shaking to see a 31-year-old man shot dead in a public forum just because somebody disagreed with him. And now a wife is a widow, 2 children don't have their father, and my God, what in the world are we doing? Just lift them up in prayer, wrap them up in prayer, and I don't know what else to say. So I will just clumsily move along from the thing that is obviously critically important, and I wanted to make sure I acknowledged to the relatively mundane when we talk about sports, but it's why you come here, right? You come here for us to talk about sports, so that's what we're going to do. So just wanted to acknowledge, obviously, I wanted to acknowledge what is gripping our country right now. All right, so I will just clumsily move on. All right, it's after further review. Thank you for being with us here today on this hump day. Russ Mitchell is going to be here in 10 minutes, and we will talk all things SEC. We'll recap the weekend that was. We'll look ahead to the weekend that will be in the Southeastern Conference, which has plenty of really fantastic matchups this week with Tennessee and hosting Georgia. Obviously, Texas A&M going to South Bend to take on Notre Dame. We've got LSU, Florida. It's a really, really good week in the conference. We're looking forward to it. We still don't have the San Francisco 49ers injury report. Again, it's a weird week where because they're on the West Coast, their practice is obviously going to be later than New Orleans, so they don't have to issue the official injury report until after practice. And because it's only 3:06 there, the injury report from San Francisco has not come out yet. We do, however, and typically what we've seen in the past is that, like in this instance, the Saints would have waited to put out the full injury report with the 49ers whenever they had it. Well, the Saints didn't wait. They've gone ahead and put out their injury report for Wednesday. And 4 players were DNPs. So I don't think these were a surprise. Julian Blackmon, who we know has the torn labrum in his shoulder, who is done for the year. He did not practice, obviously. Taliesin Fuaga did not practice with a knee injury. Trevor Penning was a DNP with the toe, and Chase Young was a DNP with the calf injury. The other players listed, there were 3 others. Velus Jones was a limited participant with a knee injury. Zach Wood, the long snapper, was limited with an elbow injury. And then Jordan Howden, apparently battling an oblique injury, but he was a full participant, not limited there in any way. So probably with both teams, the most significant news today is that Kyle Shanahan called Brock Purdy a long shot. His words, not mine, a long shot to play on Sunday. So the expectation is that the Saints are going to see Mac Jones start for San Francisco in the Dome on Sunday. George Kittle's gone to IR. We know that Debo now plays in Washington. So you're talking about a Niners team that is going to look a lot different from the one that played in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and especially on the offensive side of the ball. So how different is that look? How much does that sort of close the gap between the Saints and the Niners on a talent gap? We'll see on full display on Sunday in the Superdome. For New Orleans, Kellen Moore, when he met with reporters, did say that it looks like they're going to give Jonas Sanker an opportunity to go get some run back there at safety. And this is the kind of thing that I'm excited about for this season. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think Jonas Sanker is going to go out there and make double-digit tackles and ball out and be the NFC Defensive Player of the Week or anything like that. But I'm looking at Jonas Sanker as a guy that the Saints invested a high draft pick in. They took him in round 3. He was a top 100 pick. They took him 93rd overall, and he was at a power 5 or power 4 now at Virginia. Playing 4 seasons at UVA. And was first team all ACC last year as a senior. That was in 23. He was first team all ACC. I look at a guy that is a physically gifted guy, was talented enough to be a top 100 overall pick, a guy who could very well end up being a starter for you in the same way that Von Bell and Marcus Williams that were second-round picks ended up becoming starters for you. A guy like Trey Hendrickson, who was a third-round pick, became a starter for you. Alvin Kamara was a third-round pick. He's the greatest running back in the history of this organization. The point being, when you're looking at these draft picks, especially when you're going to use top 100 picks, remember the Saints drafted 9 players this year. I've told you this consistently. My feeling on this season is not that I'm excited to see this team, what their win-loss record is going to be, because I don't think that's going to be very good. I'm excited to see these young players to see if they can build cornerstone players. Now, do I wish that Julian Blackmon was able to play for New Orleans on Sunday? I do, because that would give New Orleans a much better shot of winning that game than having a rookie and Jonas Sanker get out there and run around. But this is all right, kid. We're just going to throw you in the deep end with no floaties on, and let's see. Like was in the sand lot or whatever, just throw him in the deep end and see if you could swim. So, we're going to find out. And I don't know how it's going to go with Jonas Sanker, but I'm excited to watch it. Because if Sanker proves to be a guy that can be a starting safety in the NFL, fantastic. Now you've got a starting safety on a rookie deal. And I'd say the same thing about someone like Kendre Miller, who's still on his rookie contract. Devin Neal got a couple of carries this past weekend as well in his debut. Kelvin Banks at left tackle. Fuaga's on a rookie deal at right tackle. I mean, you can go through the list. Vernon Broughton was a scratch this past week, but do we at some point see him on the defensive line make some kind of an impact? We've talked a lot about Danny Stutzman, who was one of the stars of training camp and of the preseason. We've talked about Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's still on a rookie deal. Can he prove that he's going to be a number one corner in the NFL who can lock down guys like Marvin Harrison Jr.? Like, those are the types of things that I want to see this year. And with Jonas Sanker, probably, it sounds like, getting a start at safety, then yeah, I'm excited to see what that looks like. You could go into veteran free agency and you could go sign Marcus Williams is available. He is an unsigned free agent right now. You can go get Marcus Williams, 29 years old. Guys played a lot of football, played in New Orleans, played in Baltimore. You've been a good pro. Probably a better option today than Jonas Sanker. But is Marcus Williams going to affect your win-loss record this year? Probably not. Is it more important to learn what you have in Jonas Sanker? Absolutely. That's the type of conversation I don't know what you all choose to have. That's the conversation I want to have all season about the New Orleans Saints. So we'll see how it goes this week with a very likely Jonas Sanker getting the start there at safety. We'll see how the week continues to play out. All right, tap to further review brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Was texting earlier this week with my buddy, Mr. Kerry Manuel, over at South Point Volkswagen, their airline just north of Highland. And remember, yes, I tell you all the time about the brand new Volkswagens, but they have an incredible selection of certified Volkswagens in stock, certified pre-owned Volkswagens in stock. Remember, if you buy a certified pre-owned Volkswagen at South Point Volkswagen, it comes with the remaining warranty on that vehicle, plus an additional 2-year, 24,000-mile certified Volkswagen factory warranty honored at any Volkswagen dealer in North America. Great vehicles, style, feel, performance of luxury, safety features, extended warranty, and great prices. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Okay, y'all, it's after further review. I know it's something you all look forward to. Many of you look forward to every single week and have for more than a decade. We talk a little college football with Russ Mitchell, who's going to join us next here on Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness.
AFR.
All right, y'all. Got a little nip in the air, but I doubt very seriously that the heat waves are gone. If you have trouble with your AC, you know who to call. River City's 1 Hour Air. Oh, we're getting close to the preseason heater safety check. We're getting close to that, but not quite there yet. Love sharing 5-star Google reviews. This one from Judy Morales said, they're on time and good at calling you when they're on their way. Impressed with River City's 1 Hour Air. Mr. Bobby was very nice and helpful with breaking down what he recommended for my AC unit. Another 5-star Google review. You can write your own after you call River City's 1 Hour Air. You got something wrong with your AC? They'll get you back running in tip-top shape, lickety-split. Remember, they work nights, holidays, and weekends, so you never, ever, 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 ever have to go to sleep in a hot house. Call River City's 1 Hour Air if you got an issue with your AC. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Russ Mitchell.
Kicking the tires and lighting the fires.
Russ!
Literally.
Well, I'm proud of Russ. I think Russ deserves it.
It's football!
Rusty, come on up here.
Absolutely, I thought that was going to happen because it's state. It's supposed to happen.
You know, I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you man to man, Russ.
How are things out there at DBU?
I want you to stay here and take care of things, Russ.
The only way you can point up is up.
Not going in our yard, Russ. It's going in our living room.
It's like Troy.
Can't see the line, can you, Russ?
Put your foot on his throat and choke him out.
Take it, Russ.
Well, he's joining us from his home today and not from Monroe because ULM couldn't get it done. He's really looking forward to that. Russ Mitchell, how are you?
Kicking tires, lighting fires. No Monroe.
Yeah, no Monroe. But I'm fairly confident we're going to have more opportunities to laugh at the expense of the Crimson Tide a bit later in the season. On the flip side of it, how could you be anything but impressed with Oklahoma with their win against Michigan? What was your big takeaway there?
John Mateer is a lot of fun, man. He's going to take over for Pavia when Pavia leaves. And I really think we should all take a moment. Like, if you could go back before Joe Burrow's last season and someone whispered and said, and I'm not comparing Joe Burrow to Pavia, but pay attention to these guys. Pay attention to Pavia. Pay attention to Mateer. I think these guys are, really exciting, and they're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Mateer is, I think, probably, if not one of my biggest takeaways so far through 2 weeks, albeit very early. The flip side of it, I know your daughter's first words you taught her were "Boo Gators." We've been over that before. I would imagine there was probably a degree of glee in the Mitchell household, despite the claim that you love all your children the same.
We love all our children the same.
Look at your shirt.
Yes, we do.
Look at your shirt.
Yeah.
Look at your shirt.
Nope.
I
think, certainly an absolute shocking in-state result there for the Gators, and I'm sure you've talked about it a lot. On the positive side, the good news is that since it was out of conference, it didn't add to Billy Napier's sub 500 record in conference play of 10-14.
Yeah, he's not very good. And I suspect that
beat y'all last year, though.
Says the guy with the Y.A. Tittle jersey on the wall behind him.
Shush.
Hey, man, you're the one who's got the Y.A. Tittle jersey on the wall behind you.
You're the one that does the TV.
You're the one who's sitting in the studio wearing an LSU football jersey.
The thing when a man gives you his jersey, you frame it and you put it in your office. I think that the thing that I took away from this weekend was the unpredictability that we saw throughout the SEC. Notably Georgia and LSU being unimpressive and vulnerable. The Florida game, obviously, but even in some of the other games, Vandy's first half against Vatech, really suspect. I thought that Ole Miss left a lot to be desired in their game against Kentucky. So a lot of unpredictability in week 2 for the SEC, and that was disappointing.
So were you more concerned about Vandy's first half or more impressed by the second half, which was an absolute behind kicking in Blacksburg?
Yeah, I mean, how can you not? I mean, again, I'm in love with Pavia. I really am. I'm going to make sure that I enjoy the rest of this season watching that guy, because 34 unanswered points, and it was as much as you want to talk about Pavia, the defense was, I don't know what happened in that locker room at halftime, but the defense came out and had truly one of the most epic performances in the history of college football. They held Vatech to 21 yards in the second half. It was like they didn't convert on a third down. I think that was like the top 10 worst performances in a half in the history of college football. And Vandy's defense did that.
Russ Mitchell is with us. I think because a lot of the big dogs in the league kind of had lethargic week 2s, it was an opportunity for some others to shine. You mentioned Vanderbilt, but Missouri with an impressive win against Kansas, Mississippi State with a win over 12th ranked Arizona State. Okay, well, go ahead. You gave a big exasperated.
Yeah, well, I mean, the border war was fantastic. And, Kansas is a good team, and they jumped up 21-6. Mizzou scored the first touchdown. Yeah. Then got the kick blocked and all that weirdness after that and now the Big 12 team referee team has been suspended for the week. Of just very interesting. But, the real thing to take away from that game was Missouri dominating from that point. Bo was fantastic, 334 yards and 3 touchdowns. Defense played well. Roberts had the big run. I mean, a really That's one of the better performances that I've seen from Missouri since they joined the SEC. And that includes several seasons where they made it to the SEC championship game. I was very impressed. And by the way, that game drew a I know you're interested in the ratings, a 1.8 million viewers on ESPN2, which made it the most watched game on that network in 3 years.
That is interesting. That game never, although they dominated the stat sheet, Missouri never really pulled away in that game. They had a late score, which made the margin 11, but it was interesting that they weren't ever able to really distance themselves from Kansas in that game.
Kansas has got a good team. I'm telling you, when we look back at the end of this year, it's like Georgia Tech has a good team too. I think Clemson goes down to play Georgia Tech.
Yeah, they do.
We won't talk about that, but keep an eye on Georgia Tech. Keep an eye on Kansas. They're a really good team. This was a really good win for Missouri.
Why wasn't Ole Miss able to handle Kentucky with ease?
Oh, and Calzado was terrible, man.
Both quarterbacks got hurt in the game. It was crazy.
Yeah, look, slow start for the Rebels, turnovers, red zone troubles. They looked like the Tigers. Just you expect much more out of the Ole Miss offense than they were able to give on the road against Kentucky. And, Kentucky's not, I'd rather play Kentucky than Kansas. So I'm disappointed with Ole Miss's performance in that one, despite the win.
The other thing, though, real quick to go back, by the way, Ole Miss is the only 1-0 team in the league, so they currently are atop the SEC standings. They should take a picture because they're not going to stay there. The thing about Missouri is, so they play UL Lafayette this weekend. Then they get South Carolina at home, UMass, Alabama at home. They're at home for the next 4 games. Then they're at Auburn at Vandy. Then they get A&M at home, Mississippi State at home. They have to go to Oklahoma and then to Arkansas to finish the season. Is a 10-2 Missouri out of the question?
No, not at all. I mean, they are the anti-Florida. I mean, if you look at Florida's schedule,
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Couldn't happen to I am giggling, but Florida's schedule is terrible, man. And Missouri's schedule, once again, you and I've talked about this earlier this season. There's a reason why Missouri keeps finishing well. They've got the easiest schedule in the SEC, and they have amongst the easiest schedules in the SEC. I think a 10-2 Missouri season is, dare you say, probable at this point?
No, that's not probable. But
if they're gonna play football like they did on Saturday, then they're definitely gonna have a 10-2 season, because that was a good game.
They've also got but you could also look at it, ranked opponents: South Carolina, Alabama, Auburn, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. They could easily as well be 7-5. I don't think that's going to happen.
Put a stick in this tape right here, and let's come back to it in November.
Look, I'm the one who asked the question, given the schedule, if they could be 10-2. I don't think I'd predict them to be 10-2, but I think it is.
So I'm on the record as saying they'll be 10-2. I was, again, very impressed with what we saw on Saturday.
Okay.
And, despite the fact I'm impressed with Oklahoma too, but I think it's a little early. I think Michigan's a little overrated as well. I was very disappointed with the Michigan defense, and you can't just do it with one guy, despite how impressive Mateer is. So, I liked Missouri's win over Kansas more than I liked Oklahoma's win over Michigan.
Okay. All right. Let's talk at a break from a sleepy week 2 to a pretty tasty week 3 in college football. We'll preview it with Russ Mitchell as we continue next on AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness.
AFR.
All right, y'all. Fall is here because the calendar says so. And earlier this week, we're in the low 60s, so the thermostat's starting to say it as well, which means it is time to get on by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area: Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Got an email earlier this week from Miss Teresa who said, "Tell Erica, all of the fall decor is starting to arrive." Oh, yeah. The pumpkins, the hay bales, the squash, the gourds, the scarecrows, all the things that you love to design and decorate your outdoor spaces. They got them over at Clegg's Nursery. The crotons are there as well. Those beautiful earth tones, the oranges and browns and dark greens. It's time to get on by and see our friends at Clegg's Nursery and start decorating for fall. Need to get those fruit trees in the ground. This is the time of year to do it. So get on by any of the Clegg's Nursery locations. Buy local, shop local, bypass the big box store. Tell them Matt sent you in to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
All right, we continue with Russ Mitchell. At Russ Mitchell CFB is where you get him on Twitter. All right, much better weekend. I want to start with actually the last game on the docket, which is Vanderbilt at South Carolina, 6:45 Central Time kick, because you're so infatuated with Diego Pavia, and there's a lot of people who seem to think that Lenora Sellers is an all-SEC quarterback and that South Carolina is a legitimate college football playoff team. I think neither of which are true. What are you looking forward in this game with Vandy and South Carolina?
I hate to agree with you, but I'm really excited that this is the night game, because this is the, kick your feet up, have a few drinks at the end of a long day of watching football and actually really enjoy yourself instead of working. And, this is going to be the other thing I'm going to like about this game. Both of these teams are 2-0 heading into their SEC opener. And you talked about Lenora Sellers, and can Vandy's defense, corral that dual threat ability. But this game's going to be settled in the trenches. That's really where it's going to be settled, right? The South Carolina's got a great defensive front. Can they get to Pavia? Can they put pressure on them? And conversely, the same thing with Sellers. I really want to take Vandy in this game. I really, really want to take Vandy, but I think, I like South Carolina at home. I think that their defensive line is playing very well. Vandy's not just has to control Sellers, they also have to control Harbor. And what's the spread in this game?
South Carolina 4.5.
4.5, so it's come down, huh? Yeah, I would have definitely. I'll take Vandy and the points. South Carolina's giving 4.5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take Vandy and the points, but I like South Carolina to win the game straight up.
The one thing I don't like about this weekend is that the schedule makers did a very poor job. The television schedule makers did a very poor job of allocating these, because everything is basically at 6:30. It's again, all these good games are on top of each other. Another one of them, I think, is Arkansas Ole Miss, where look, Arkansas has been massively impressive offensively, but they have played nobody. So, all right, go to Oxford and let's see if you have a pulse.
Exactly. I mean, both of these teams are amongst the nation leaders in explosive offenses. Each squad leads the SEC in big chunk plays. The big question to me is Simmons hurt, right? I mean, he got banged up he says he's not. Lane says he's not. But, let's see where Simmons' health is. This is another game where I would probably take – how many points is Arkansas getting?
7.5.
Oh, yeah. I'd take Arkansas on the points in this game, too. Absolutely. I think Arkansas could win this game straight up. Wouldn't bet on it, but I think they could. So this should be a fun game. Meanwhile, Alabama's kicking off at 3 a.m., right? Isn't that the kickoff time for the Alabama game, which I think is a little early. It's a little early.
It's the 11 a.m. game on ABC. The marquee says Wisconsin at Alabama. The spread's 3 touchdowns. This shouldn't be much of a game because Arkansas stinks. Or excuse me, Wisconsin stinks.
Well, what are we doing putting Alabama on TV so early?
It's because they're playing Wisconsin. I mean, it's just not – it's a game that you schedule it thinking that's going to be a good game. But Wisconsin stinks. I mean, this should not be a contest. Like, if Alabama struggles with Wisconsin, like, they have major underlying issues. I mean, Wisconsin scored 17 points against Miami of Ohio. This is not a good team.
They're supposed to have a good defense, Wisconsin, but they played Miami of Ohio and the fighting Raiders, the Fighting Blue Raiders of Middle Tennessee State.
Yes, sir.
Plus they've got guess what they've got? They've got really big offensive linemen, and they've got a new offensive coordinator who's going to run the ball, power running, outside zone, play action, but it's not going to be the motion that Florida State had. It's not going to be that motion that Malzahn, the misdirection that Malzahn uses, which Alabama struggled with. Plus, they have a backup quarterback. Their quarterback got hurt So they've got this kid transfer from San Diego State named Danny O'Neal. I guarantee you the Aztecs haven't played very many games in stadiums like Bryant Denny. So, yeah, I like Alabama.
Russ Mitchell's with us. The meat on the bone are the three gigantic matchups. And let's start with the afternoon game with Georgia at Tennessee. Game day is going to be there. We're about to find out if Tennessee is for real and if Georgia and Kirby and all that youth are ready for a big-time road environment. What say you?
Tennessee 2-0, cruising, baby. Nico, who?
They look good, bro. They look good. They look efficient, right?
Who, Nico? Georgia's won this game in recent years by doing three things: running the ball well, converting on third downs to keep Tennessee off the field, and disguising their defense so they could put pressure on the quarterback. This year, and granted we have a small sample size, but this year Georgia's rushing offense is sluggish and exceptionally predictable, like really predictable. Like if you've got a 3-year-old in your house who's been watching football his whole life, he can tell where Georgia's running the ball. So if they run like that in Knox Vegas, they're in big trouble, because then they won't be converting on third downs. If they're not converting on third downs, then I don't care how well they mask their defense to put pressure on the quarterback. If they can't do two of those three things, they're going to lose to Tennessee.
Who you like?
I like Tennessee.
Okay. That's the energy I'm here for on a Wednesday. Vols are a 3.5-point home dog in that game. The Georgia Bulldogs are a road favorite there. Also, that's a 2:30 game. As I mentioned, that 6:30 window. At 6:30, you've got A&M Notre Dame, LSU Florida, and then 6:45 is Vandy South Carolina. You've got three good games all on top of each other. A&M at Notre Dame is the NBC Peacock game. Notre Dame won at Kyle Field last year. Both teams are ranked. Notre Dame's still in the top 10. They played the opener against Miami and were idle last week, so they're 0-1. This is only their second game, so they've had a week to rest, get ready for Texas A&M. Kind of feels like a tough spot for Marcel Reed, Elko, and the Aggies walking into South Bend.
A&M's 2-0 with decisive wins over the School of the Blind and the Children of the Poor. So it's difficult to take very much out of Marcel's explosive performance against the School of the Blind and the Children of the Poor. Notre Dame got a bye week after that great opening week game against Miami. More important than a bye week is putting pressure on a quarterback, and that's the thing. If you're an A&M fan, and if you are, why are you listening to me? But if you're an A&M fan, you're hoping that Notre Dame defense that struggled to put any pressure at all on Beck, they have one sack, right? And they've got no pressure. If they can't put pressure on Reed, that's a really good sign for Texas A&M. If you're a Notre Dame fan, you want to pull the if you're a Notre Dame fan, you want to pull the A&M secondary up. So gap blocking schemes. A&M, there was some question about their ability to be able to handle that. They struggled against UTSA on gap blocking schemes. So I like Notre Dame at home.
One sack, 2 TFLs for Notre Dame against Miami. So yeah, they did struggle to get to Carson back. All right, the big one.
Ain't a hobby, baby.
The big one. It'll be Saturday night, Tiger Stadium. Tigers Gators. What are you doing?
Just excited, man. I'm excited. It's the Gator.
What are you doing? Let's see. Gators, they lose to South Florida and maybe coming in a little wounded here, a little motivated. Tigers dropped one in Gainesville last year, looking to maybe bounce back after a sluggish game against Tech. All right, what's the key?
Any news today on Braylon?
Brian Kelly said that he's probable for Saturday.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to play. It's a pity because I'd really, if you're an LSU fan, you'd feel a lot more confident heading into this game if Braylon Moore is playing. I think Chester's serviceable, and I'd rather have him and his experience than a stud kid who's never played. Because what you need to do is you got to score in the red zone. You need more than 3.5 yards a carry. I love that the team is committing to running the ball, but how about get 4 yards a carry? Can we at least get 4 yards a carry in a game this year? I'd like that. And some big plays too. They kind of go hand in hand. So red zone scores, more big plays, more than 3 yards a carry. That'd be wonderful. But I really think this game's going to come down, and I can't believe I'm going to say this. I never say this. I think this game's going to come down to the home field advantage. I really think that this is forget the logo on the jersey. These are proud young men who've just been embarrassed by an in-state rival. They've spent a week listening to their friends and their uncle call them up, and they're embarrassed. Now they're coming in with all their focus on this game, and they're talented. That's a talented roster, even if the coaching staff has struggled. I think the first half crowd noise in that stadium on Saturday is going to be a key to this game. Their offense, the confidence is fragile. If you can break them in the first half with noise and attention, I think that'll go a long way to allowing this LSU offense to hit its pace and perform, especially since I don't have any question marks about the defense.
And?
Oh, I like the Tigers to win in this one. I like LSU by a full touchdown, maybe a little more.
He is Russ Mitchell, good enough to join us here every Wednesday, talk a little SEC football, and I love the Parrish Construction and Roofing hat that you were donning when you do this visit each week. Almost as much as that Y.A. Tittle jersey behind you, but not nearly as much as the Vanderbilt goalpost. Yeah, you can take him off the screen, Paul. He's just circling out there. Yeah, not nearly as much as the Vanderbilt goalpost. There he did. He come? Was that him whistling? Thought it was him whistling. He's got a Vanderbilt goalpost from last year when Vanderbilt upset Alabama.
He showed it to us a couple weeks ago again.
So he sent me a picture of it last Sunday morning, just because.
Just
because. Just because. We appreciate Russ Mitchell. Remember, Parrish Construction Roofing. We had a video shoot today with Michaela Williams and Malaysia Fawiley, the transfer to LSU women's basketball players. Did a really cool NIL deal with them over at Parrish. We're thrilled to do it. So we're redoing a roof. They came out, did a little video shoot, photo shoot. It was great to see those great young ambassadors for the LSU women's basketball program. And we love doing true NIL deals like that. And we were happy to do it at Parrish Construction and Roofing. So women's basketball team hopefully making a push for a natty this year under Kim Mulkey. And, of course, always at Parrish Construction and Roofing. We're thrilled to help you out. Roof repairs, roof replacements, commercial, residential. We do soft washing as well. We can do your gutters. And remember, we are a certified, fortified roofing company, Louisiana's first Louisiana-based certified, fortified roofing company. So we'd love to help you out at Parrish Construction and Roofing. If you do get a fortified roof, you apply for that grant at the LDI website. Remember, you get to choose your contractor. We love it if you choose us at Parrish Construction and Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Our Hump Day show is brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We got one break left. We'll come back. We'll wrap up a busy Hump Day edition of AFR with Jimmy Ott will be here for Otterlocks. Find out what we're betting on tonight. That's next here on AFR.
AFR. After Further Review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR. We are presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Yes, they do ED treatments. Yes, it's a funny name. Yes, it's a funny logo and all that stuff. But nothing funny about what they do, because at Goodwood, they get you feeling like your younger self. Hormone replacement therapy, many of the different peptide therapies as well. It's Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. Okay, let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otterlocks.
Otterlocks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Doing great, Matt. How about you?
Doing really well. 2-1 night last night. Congrats for the Otter on a winning night last night. Love to see that. But to keep it going tonight. So what are we looking at? I know a couple games already underway.
Yeah, watching Paul Skeens, no score through the first. So the Pirates batting, no score at the top of the second, nobody on, nobody out. was minus 157 when we put it out on the website. And Gaines looks good. 2 strikeouts. Not sure what it is in game, but it should be close with no score.
It was at minus $1.55, and it just came off the board. I'm waiting for it to come back on, so something might have just happened.
Let's hope he hit it out the park. So anyway,
I'm actually hoping he didn't, because I'd like a better price on it.
If you did look at, we had to switch it. There was a mistake. We kind of had the picks mixed up a little bit, but it's corrected now. But Atlanta in the Yankees are next money line parlay. That's plus 146. I think we had it said Atlanta and the Mets. That is not. The Mets are playing Philadelphia. We'll get to that one. Chris Sale for the Braves. This is a rubber match. Braves won the first one. Cubbies won last night. Last year's Cy Young, we're watching Paul Skeens. He's anywhere from 100 to 200 to 1 to win the Cy Young. That's all but done.
Yeah.
But Chris Sale, his last 9 starts, Matt, has given up 1 or 0 earned runs. He is on a hell of a roll as of late. So Sale on part of it. And the Yankees looking to bounce back from their bullpen getting trounced last night. They've got their ace on the hill tonight, Carlos Rodon. So that parlay is paying plus 146. So Braves, Yankees, money line parlay.
Okay.
And then we're going to go back and look for the sweep tonight. They won easily for us last night, the Philadelphia Phillies. They adjusted the line. We're not getting a cheap line tonight. So we're going to try and whittle that juice down, lay 1 run, not 1.5, 1 run. Only DraftKings and BetRivers does it, minus 117. Sanchez, who is the second choice for National League Cy Young behind Paul Skeens. Phillies looking to dispose of the Mets in this one. Phillies have not beaten the Mets at Citi Field. The Mets have not beaten the Phillies at the bank in Philadelphia. So let's try and keep that trend going tonight.
By the way, 2 up, 2 down for the Pirates. That number's down to minus $1.30. So
there you go.
I'm gonna press my luck here, Otter, and see if I might get a little bit of cheaper price here in the middle of the second. Yeah. But hopefully get a little better price there. So anyway, Pirates on the money line. Braves Yankees money line parlay coming back at plus $1.46, and then Phillies minus 1 run at minus $1.17. You get the on the run there at DraftKings. All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
We were at Modesto today, looking across the parking lot and seeing the big stage being set up at Walk-Ons. So
awesome.
We'll be at the original Walk-Ons. We are getting ready for the Gators coming into town. So original Walk-Ons on Burbank tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
All right, Otter, good luck tonight. Thank you as always. We appreciate it.
Good luck. Yes, indeed.
Thanks, man. That's Jimmy Yacht. Of course, Jimmy Yacht, Charles Handegriff, every weekday, 11 to 1 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're not in Baton Rouge, you can always listen or watch online or on YouTube. So check them out there. Brought to you by Evermore, EVA-MOR. Always got my big bottle of Evermore right here on the desk with me. Drink it every single day. I drink 2 of the 64-ounce bottles every single day to make sure you stay hydrated. You want a healthier option, natural artesian water from these ancient underground aquifers. You can learn more about it. You can read more about it. But the bottom line is, just because you're drinking bottled water doesn't mean you're drinking a great, natural, healthy source. A lot of bottled waters may have things added or taken out of them. With Evermore, this is from an underground well. It's pumped right when you turn into the facility. The well is right there on the facility. They pipe the water out of it into the bottling facility. They just filter the sediment out of it from the ground, and then boom, right into the bottle. You're drinking a truly natural product with Evermore. EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. Drink Evermore. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Glad to have you hanging out. If you missed it, the big news of the day, Brian Kelly, Braylon Moore probable for LSU on Saturday. Said probable on Saturday against the Florida Gators. Remains to be seen. I'm curious. It's one of two things. I think that's either gamesmanship, just not putting it out there just yet, or maybe they're just going to try to manage Braylon Moore. Let him play this week. Tape him up, shoot him up, get him ready to roll as best he can. 75, 80%, figuring that's a better option against Florida with this opponent coming in, knowing you got Southeastern next week. So if you need to give him a week, you can before you go to Ole Miss. And then after Ole Miss, of course, you have an open date. So something worth keeping an eye on. Brian Kelly will meet with reporters after practice on Thursday, and then he has his coaches show Thursday night, so we'll have a much better sense. And, of course, SEC coaches do have to submit injury reports now. So we will get an official injury report as we move throughout the week here on Thursday and on Friday as well. All right, y'all, just about going to do it for us as we wrap up here. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand is presented by Breck Golf, so book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. We had Ronnie Rance in studio with us. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame class has been announced. Brian Peacock from Locked On 49ers gave us the perspective on San Francisco. Brock Purdy, not likely, long shot to play this weekend against the New Orleans Saints. Then Russ Mitchell here in hour number 3. All right, y'all, it's going to do it for us. Muse Pauly, I appreciate it. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you back here for Thursday edition of AFR tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
As we get on down the road, remind you about our friends over at Rouse's. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. Remember, at Rouse's, all season long on game day, Rouse's is helping you cover the spread. Get to Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Love telling you about Rouse's because this is a great local business celebrating 65 years in business, still family-owned, still growing and expanding wisely, responsibly. Lake Charles to Orange Beach, 70 locations, points in between, and still looking and growing for more. And listen, this football season, our friends over at Rouse's are helping you cover the spread. So if you're tailgating on your football Saturdays or heading down to the Dome for the New Orleans Saints, of course, Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, they got everything that you could possibly imagine. All your beers, your bourbons, your wines, whatever it may be, your party trays, platters, meat for the grill, chips, dips, sides, all of it in one place. Rouse's. This feels like home.